don't stop.
Is there anything that you can think to add? Anything that you would want to tell a parent, or because I just talked about really like the journey.
Oh,
his
yeah.
journey.
Stick it out. Don't take a break.
Yes.
I've watched it even with piano, these kids. And I never really thought about it until we got here.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was probably like our second year here, and there was people taking the summer off.
Mm-hmm. We're right at that part right now.
And
Point.
I've watched them come back.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one mom that I got pretty close with, and I was so devastated to find out that she wasn't bringing her son back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, and I think now she brought like the littlest one back. She has like a younger one, and I think she brought him back to karate, but the other one is doing a sport or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. And I'm thinking, that's crazy. Like, you take them out of this. It took all that time for them to adjust and to get used to everybody and to build a bond with the other kids.
Right.
And then you take that away from them for whatever, vacations, or because you want that time with them to relax. But they need to have a life of their own.
Right.
They need to have something that's theirs. And same thing like with piano. There's people who take the whole summer off, and I'm thinking, my kid misses a week of practicing. He's shot. It takes him almost a month to get back
There's a rebound
into the
effect.
groove again.
Yeah.
So that's something I would say to parents coming into this, that it's a commitment and it's for your kid. Like, it's beneficial for them. And they learn so much from it. Why would you want to put them in that position of having to readjust and go through it being new again because they
Right.
took so much time off? Like, I just think it's such a disservice to them.
Well, I think it speaks to mindset too, because there's many parents who feel like this is an activity, Well, I
Yeah.
did swimming, we did t-ball, now we're going to do karate, then we'll move on to. They don't realize that it's a process, and I've really changed the way I even talk about it. Is this is a child development program, and
Yeah.
by program, you should be different coming out than you were going into it. But the longer you stay with it, the more changes you're going to see. And so, what would you say if you had advice for parents, because you've been through it, you've stuck with it? What would your biggest advice be to a parent who is either thinking about it or maybe is already in it? What would you say?
I would say don't take a break. There's been times that I've been exhausted and I'm still exhausted, and I do all this running around, but the changes that I have seen in Zachary over the almost 4 years that he's been in the program, I don't want to jeopardize that. Like, I don't want to lose that, and he loves it. Like, of course there's days where he goes, I don't want to go. Can't I just stay home in the air conditioning? I want to play a video game. And I go, no, get in the car. We're going. But once we get there, he's like pumped and he's super excited and he just loves it. And like, it's so easy to want to take that break for summer because the kids are out of school and, you can go and do so many different things. That's one day a week for 30 minutes.
It's so easy to fit into your schedule.
Yeah, and I mean, I just wouldn't take a break. I've watched it. I've watched other parents take that break. And the ones that do bring their kids back, they're kind of, I don't want to say lost, but you can see that they don't feel like as confident as they were whenever they were in it the first time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's two things. One is their friends that were there with them, even though we have different
They're
belts.
advanced.
Yeah, in one class, their friend moved on and now has a different belt. And as a kid, you can't help but feel, like it's kind of like let some air out of the balloon.
Yeah.
But I also say, as a parent too, what are we teaching our kids? Are we teaching them that, this is something you dabble with, and this is, we're not teaching them that there's any value in really staying with somebody and having some mastery at it. Even though it's a foundational program, there's just so much that goes with it as far as development and just the social, the emotional, the mental. I mean, there's so much. We could talk about it all day. But I always say it's like a cake. The longer you bake it, the higher it rises. But imagine if you take a cake out midway.
Yeah.
You know, you can put it back in the oven, but you're going to get a brick. You
Yeah.
know, so it's a simple comparison, but it's really true. And coming from a parent who has seen it, she's been here and she's seen what happens. Those who take a break, I'd say 90% don't come back, even though they have the best intentions.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, usually they don't stay because, you know, their kid feels differently, or, you know, you've basically taught your child that, well, this doesn't really have any value because we're going to leave, you know, and maybe we'll come back. So.
Yeah, this is the first year that we did a sport, really, since the whole soccer incident, and that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, oh, I'm not ready to do that again. We signed up for T-ball, and I've also watched that happen too, where parents kind of ditch karate for the seasonal sports and football, T-ball, hockey, or whatever.
That's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Summertime, you know, and because we're a martial arts school, every martial arts school sees that, but summertime is a big time for everything. Soccer,
Yeah.
T-ball, swimming, Kennywood, which is our park, our local amusement park, you know.
Yeah.
We hear it all, but
And we have season passes to Kennywood too, but T-ball practice it happened to fall on the night of our karate, and it was from 5 to 5:45, and I had to be out in Pleasant Hills for Ninjability at 6, and we hustled. He was like, we'd pull in, he was changing out a T-ball uniform and putting the karate uniform on, and we were like ready. But it never crossed my mind to be like, well, we're going to take a break for T-ball because this has been such a staple in our lives for 4 years that it's like, this is our norm. We've made this our norm. This is part of our life. And it never even dawned on me to say, well, we're going to take a couple months off, because it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean take a couple months off? Why would you do that? You know, he loves it, you know. I wouldn't want to take that away from him. You know,
Right.
He enjoys that interaction, and it's a whole different kind of interaction with these kids here. It's not like T-ball where they're messing around and nobody's paying attention. They're drawn in the dirt. Like here they're focused and they're communicating with one another, and it's like effective communication.
yeah,
and it's
very
so cool.
structured.
Yeah, it's so cool to see all these little kids having conversations with each other about karate and about their moves and about the terms, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what they mean. Like, you know, I don't know what they're saying, but it's so neat.
So, you know, I really wanted to share Lori's story because she's kind of the veteran parent from my program, and I give her a lot of respect for her views and sticking it out and really making sure that her son continues to have the best experience he can have. And he's nothing but a joy for me to have around. I'm really glad they've stayed with it. I know there's just more to come because there's always another level. There's always more. And I can't wait to see, you know, we're going to blink our eyes and he's going to be a teenager, you know.
Oh,
Can't wait to
gosh.
see what that's going to bring.
I know. It's just so
Don't stop.